Hi everyone, BB here. I'm back to talk about more daily bumps, the Lannings, who are total idiots. They are not relatable. So let's get to their pets one. They are not relatable because thumbnails are not relatable. In California, homeschool laws are really extreme. They're strict. They're heavy. Daily bumps, the Lannings, they put their son Oliver in preschool for pre-K and transitional kindergarten, and he didn't do very well because they didn't want to drive him to preschool. And they would pick him up in the middle of the day during nap time with a camera in their hand, vlogging when they would walk through the door and walk into the classroom during preschool nap time and wake up their kid, inadvertently waking up other kids. And they would put Ollie's post-nap waking up face in the thumbnail most of the time. And during that era of constantly taking their kid to Disneyland on preschool days, Knott's Berry Farm on preschool days, and Starbucks, but not preschool on preschool days, Starbucks and PetSmart and the mall and McDonald's on preschool days, but not going to preschool on preschool days. And then the grandparents taking kid to preschool, and then the parent goes to the preschool that same day and picks up Oliver from preschool halfway through the day during nap time, waking up a kid, waking up other kids with the camera in her hands and still calling herself, I'm relatable. No, you're fucking not. That's when I lost respect and I kind of unsubscribed. I still watch their videos from time to time or go through the clips and see what's being said on the snarky blogs about them. They're just shit. Anyways, they are shit because they don't follow homeschool rules in California. They don't homeschool their kid appropriately. They give him very basic kindergarten work for which he's 7.5 and he's in first grade. And they just don't really want to give their kids an education. I was gonna make I was gonna make some kind of meme or I was looking for the meme of where Michelle Duggar says perpendicular and bankruptcy in like the 14 kids and counting, 15 kids and counting, 16 kids moving in, but I couldn't find the meme. I don't know what happened to it, but the meme is gone. Here's an old clip of her attempt to homeschool.
Resource for today, we're going to be going through learning about bankruptcy laws.
Okay, there it is. Bankruptcy, Michelle Duggar, and then Bankruptcy and Michelle Duggar go hand in hand with the Lannings. Doing paid promotions about the lack of first grade education, and Nabisco wheat thins are more important than showing a real education for their kids. I mean, yeah, in the age of COVID, I get it, schools are closed, and even when you choose to homeschool, don't make a farce out of it. Don't make a farce out of homeschooling your kid just because you want to do a paid promotion with Nabisco to get some wheat thins on your video. They made the video more about wheat thins than about homeschool. Even though Mom's homeschool meltdown. She didn't melt down in the video at all. It's clickbait. And your kid is supposed to be in first grade and kindergarten, basically. And you're doing less than first grade work. I saw the whole video. Barely anything. I've seen all of their videos of homeschool. She doesn't have a chosen curriculum. She brags about homeschooling her kids, but she doesn't brag about any one curriculum. She doesn't do homeschool haul videos or homeschool lesson plan videos or plan with me videos. She's a lazy homeschool YouTube vlogger mom who just does the homeschool stuff on the side, pulling her kid out of preschool so much that he didn't really gain from preschool, and by the time he's an adult, he'll just remember, I didn't go to preschool very often. I just went to Disneyland all the time. And same with their son Finn. They put him in preschool for like half a year, and then COVID happened. And then they put him in preschool way later. And then COVID happened, and he probably won't even have a memory of preschool. Because they did the same thing to Finn that they did to Ollie. Just pull him out of school on preschool days and wake him up at nap time, pick him up early, make grandparents take him to school because they were too lazy to do it themselves. They want to go to Starbucks but not take the kids to school. And I found that really bothersome, and yet they kept on saying, we're relatable. No, you're not. You want relatable? When schools go back in session, put your kids in school. Or if you're a relatable homeschool parent, pick a curriculum. Brag about it. Make 10 videos about it. Show yourself teaching that curriculum to your kid, and then you can say you're a good homeschool parent. Maybe 50 or 60 videos, I don't know. Damn timer. It's not even a full minute. And her homeschooling is about the equivalent of Michelle Duggar teaching like 8 kids ages 4 to 15 about bankruptcy. She wasn't really teaching those 2 little kids about bankruptcy, but Michelle Duggar doesn't know the first thing about teaching kids anything besides making babies and charting your ovulation. So, let's go to the topic of the day, which is Daily Bump's pets. How many pets have they had? Too many. They have Karma, their first dog. When Missy and Brian first got married or first started dating and moved in together, they got a dog, a puppy, named Karma, who was like, 8 or 9 years old by now. And still alive and still kicking. And then here's just a whole thing of all their pets. Christmas surprise, baby goats, making changes with our pets. We got a new pet. Our new pets. Disaster in Daily Bump's backyard. Our new robot pet. We got a new cat. We got new baby bunny. Christmas puppy surprise, baby's first pet. Our puppy is missing, saying goodbye. First puppy fall. What happened to my pet? Meeting the new puppy, surprising the kids with new kittens. Mini Coyote. Peterson explores the wild. Mini puppy surprise. Bearded Dragon reveal party. Magical birthday surprise. Telling the kids we sold the house. Our plans changed. Birthday special and a new pet. Private party. New robot dog taking his dragon for a walk. Found a lost cat, adopting the cutest farm animals. So let's go with their second dog, which was Luna. And we have Christmas surprise Santa caught on camera. Adorable puppy homecoming, taking Luna to the vet. Real versus puppy fake. Saying goodbye to Luna. A new puppy. Puppy snow reactions, meeting the new puppy. New puppy, 2 new dogs for Christmas. First puppy fall. Adopting a new family member. Shape of a dog or a cat or a pig. Our puppy is missing. Dogs react to our new cat. Puppy pool problem. Puppy surprise. Adopting again? Puppy pregnant. And then their next one was a cat. When Ollie was 3, the parents decided to get a new cat, but they didn't really do their homework. They went to a breeder who probably wasn't a very good or legitimate breeder, or even maybe a certified breeder for what we know, and they adopted a Bengal Savannah hybrid. They didn't really know what to do with it, and they just said, "This is a new birthday present for a 4-year-old." Your 4-year-old was like developmentally 2.5 and could have cared less about a cat. You already had 2 dogs. But you weren't training the second dog very well, and only your first dog was housebroken. Your second dog you kept on kenneling and trapping in a crate and not letting her out, and the majority of your videos, trapped in a crate, trapped in a bathroom, trapped in a bedroom. Dog was always being told, "You're not housebroken." Dog was being always blamed for peeing in the house. It was ridiculous. They just didn't care. And then they didn't care about the work that, this cat would need like a whole sunroom space of its own, different cat trees, cat toys. These are like very social cats. They need to be with other cats. You can't just give it to a 4-year-old as a birthday present and think that it's a toy, but they did. And they made so many videos about it. And in the end, they couldn't handle a high needs, high maintenance, hybrid cat breed, an exotic house cat, basically. And they couldn't handle it because they didn't want to put in the effort to train the cat, to provide materials, resources, cat trees, toys, entertainment, intellectual development, stimulation. The cat, they tried to teach the cat to walk on a leash. It didn't really work because they just kept on kind of dragging the cat and then carrying the cat and dragging the cat and carrying the cat. And then they gave up, so they gave the cat to their parents and then to her younger brother, who's 4 or 5 years younger than her. His name is Jimmy, and he's balding and has a receding hairline. And he's a computer techie guy who helped his sibling sister get to 1 million subscribers by making a little, LED red light alarm clock counter, basically, of subscribers. And they couldn't handle having a cat. They still had a dog. So later on, they got chickens. And they had amazing chicken discovery. What happened to the chickens? Something broke into the chicken coop. Chicken versus baby. What happened to our backyard chickens? Getting rid of the chickens. Luna reacts to new baby chickens. New baby chicks trapped in rocks. Disaster in the backyard. New secret chicken special surprise. Revealing our chicken names. Searching for baby's heartbeat chicken. Playing with the chickens. Shower joke at the chickens. What happened to his lip? Chicken catastrophe. Chicken name reveal. What happened to her chickens? Multiple chickens. They had a phase of wanting chickens, but they didn't like the chores and the cleanup of chickens. They didn't like the cleanup of a chicken coop. They didn't like having to relocate chickens to clean the chicken coop. They didn't like having to pull out the tray from underneath the chicken coop floor to remove all the chicken fecal matter and all the feathers. They didn't like cleaning out the chicken nests. They didn't like cleaning the chicken eggs. They didn't like cleaning the eggs. They didn't even make most of the eggs. They let them rot. And then they got rid of the chickens one by one. But they complained in the beginning when they first got the chickens because they were baby chicks practically when they started. And all Missy and Brian could do was complain about, they're not laying eggs. Why aren't they laying eggs? Because they're not fully mature yet. A chicken can take up to 9 months to fully mature. And sometimes up to 2 years before laying eggs. And they didn't do their research. And even if they did do their research, they didn't do enough. And they just made all these clickbait videos of chicken this and chicken that, disaster, catastrophe, a coyote got in, a raccoon stole our chicken eggs, coyote took our chicken, coyote killed our chicken, raccoon stole our chicken eggs, Wild animals got into the chicken coop. A snake got into the chicken coop. A rattlesnake in the chicken coop. They had so many chicken coop clickbait videos. Same thing with the Bengal cat. Same thing with the second dog, Luna. Same thing with the first dog, Karma. Same thing with the horse named Nacho. Same thing with all the goats. Same thing with the lizard. Same thing with the pig. They once they tried to do like a micro pig and it lasted like 2 weeks. And then they got rid of it and never talked about it again. So, puppies. Kitty. Look at all those goats. The dangerous truth about goats. Goats break into the house and destroy it, finding a new home for the goats. Meet our new baby goats. And they've done this over and over and over and over again. And then later, they did the chicken thing. And later, they got more chickens. And then they got less chickens. And then they gave away chickens. And then they got more chickens. And then they sold the chickens. But then they got another chicken. Because they don't like the chores, but they like the clickbait. And then Missy decided to get a horse. Because she thought, oh, I had a horseback riding lessons when I was a kid. So I'm going to get a horse now because we have 2 acres. Lady, horses need more than 2 acres of land. Okay, maybe they have like 2-3 acres. But if you have under 10 acres, a horse is not going to be happy. And if you don't have any horse trails where you live, a horse is not going to be happy. You don't have anywhere to take the horse besides in a trailer to like private horse facilities. A horse is not going to be happy. At first, she had the horse in like a private stable at a rental stable. And then later on, they hired a contracting crew to build a stable in their 2-acre plus property. The scariest accident in my life. Super Mom Day in life. On a horse. Mom's homeschool meltdown. Thrown out for a horse. Not clickbait. Doesn't even have 600 views. 600,000. Has 574,000 views. Our new family member had 1 million views. He's so nervous putting a camera up close in a horse's face. Yeah, great way to spook them. Huge loss. Meeting the new horse. What happened to my horse? Emotional horse surprise. The funniest ride of his life. Making changes with our pets. Saying goodbye. Sister teaches me to ride a horse. Telling the kids we sold the horse. We're adopting again. Our plans changed. Amazing haircut. House tour. Just like so many YouTubers. Some of them are worse than others. I'd say Shay Carl had a terrible track record with animals. I'm not even saying Colette or their kids, Gavin, Avia, Emmy, Brock Daxton. They're not the ones who had the animals. Shay Carl was the one who wanted a bunch of animals, like wild house cats, to be outside, live in the garage, live in a barn, and not to have any human contact. And then they got picked off one by coyotes, and he blamed coyotes instead of himself. And then he had horses, and then he was like, I'm tired of horses. I'm going to sell them for slaughter. Instead of selling them for adoption, or trading them for adoption, or setting up your horses for adoption or foster through a humane society, he got tired of horses, so instead of letting someone else buy the horses and have horses, he just sold them for slaughter. And he did the same thing, I think, with some cows. He got tired of having cows after, like, a few months, and he sold them for slaughter. Baby's first pet. Please be okay. We dug up a zombie pet fish. Some disappointing news with the fish. Yeah, they did even beta fish for when they had a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. And in every video that they say, we got a new pet. They don't say, we got a new pet because we want it. They would say, we got a new pet for Ollie. We got a new pet for Finn. We got a new pet for the kids who don't know what chores are. We got new pets for the kids who can't be held responsible for all of the chores of pets. And then Bearded Dragon gender reveal. We got a new pet. Oliver finds his first toxic newt. Christmas pet surprise. Robot dog. Pet dragon for a walk. Lost cat. Adopting the cutest farm animals. You know, this is really bad. This is a bad way to raise your kids, to think that you can just get pet after pet after pet, not take any responsibility for them. And when you don't want to take responsibility, you pawn them off to your parents who are in their 60s, or you just sell them on Craigslist because you don't like the chores. You like the clickbait, but you don't like the chores. You like the clickbait, but you don't like the cleanup. You like the clickbait, but not the transferring of animals to clean their habitats. You like the clickbait, but you don't actually want to take care of the animals. And you like the clickbait of saying, we got new pets for our kids. When your kids are as young as early 3 when you started getting new pets. And when your kid was 3, we got a 3-year-old a new dog. We got a 3-year-old a new cat. We got a 4-year-old a new cat. We got a 4-year-old a horse. We got our 5-year-old goats. We bought chickens for a 6-year-old. This is what this family does. Yes, I have a problem with criticizing people, but it's YouTube. You can do what the fuck you want. But this people, don't do this shit. Dear people who are parents of kids, don't justify to every video you make for YouTube that you're getting a pet for your kids. If you want the pet for yourselves, just say so. But don't constantly brainwash your kids into thinking you got them a pet, and then you're constantly disappointing them by saying, we're getting rid of the pet. And then you're making them cry on camera. I mean, look at that clickbait about goats. Meet our new baby goats. The dangerous truth about goats. Goats break into the home and destroy it. Finding a new home for the goats. And there are like 20 other goat clickbait videos from this family. They just don't care. And again, like I said, when their son was 3 years old, they decided to get a Bengal Savannah hybrid cat and say, we got a cat for our 2-year-old. A 2-year-old doesn't know how to take care of a cat. A 2-year-old doesn't know how to pet a cat. A 2-year-old doesn't know how to feed a cat. Why are you always saying we got a new pet for our kids? Your kids aren't the ones paying for the animals, paying for the vet bills, paying for the animal care, paying for the supplies, paying for the food. Your kids are not the ones feeding the animals. Your kids are not the ones taking care of the animals. And when you get tired of doing the chores, stop making your kids cry on camera that you're gonna get rid of the pet. If you don't want the pet, just don't get the pet. I just don't understand these people. They call themselves relatable, and yet they go through pets faster than I can go through a Kit Kat bar. They go through pets faster than I can go through a giant container of pretzels. Hell, I opened that container of pretzels a month ago. And I'm sure they've had at least one new pet since then and probably got rid of it. One time, they got betta fish, and I missed it. Because you blink, they adopt an animal. You blink again, they get rid of the animal. And that's what Missy and Brian Lanning do. When you are stupid parents who talk to your kids through a camera to the point where they never see your true facial expressions, they don't see your seriousness and scolding them to not climb on something that's 10 feet high, but you're just passive-aggressively laughing at them and then scolding them and then joking with them. And your 4-year-old is on a 10-foot high pole, because that's the kind of parents they are. They let their youngest son just climb on everything, and then they pull out the camera, they scold him, and then they laugh at him. And then they scold him, and they laugh at him. And then they just say, "Don't do that. Don't climb that high." And then they laugh at him. And then he falls down, and they get panicky, and then they go to the ER, and they take the camera with them into an ER, urgent care. Their kid gets stitches. They film their kid getting stitches, crying, sobbing, in pain, and then they film their kid for the next couple of days still in pain. And then their kid climbs on something again, and what do the parents do? They laugh. They pull out the camera. They say, "Don't climb on that. You'll hurt yourself again." And then they laugh. And they think it's funny that their kid climbs 10 feet high, and they fall down. And then they do clickbait videos of, "My kid fell down," and clickbait videos of their kids falling down because the parents can't be bothered to parent. And then they do like a billion animals, and they recycle them, and they get rid of them, they sell them on Craigslist, they give them to their parents, and they can't seem to get enough of this. Buying an animal, saying we're adopting it, saying it's a birthday present for little kids. And then they get the animal away. But not before. What happened to our chickens? Not before finding a new home for the goats, and then filming their kids crying about more animals going away. Now, I've watched all of their getting rid of the animal videos, and every time their oldest son cries because he sees the pattern. He may not have the vocabulary yet to say out loud, "Every time this happens, every time you get an animal, you just give it away." He may not have that vocabulary yet at 7 years old. But he sees it. In his mind, he sees the pattern. And one day he will have the words. And one day his parents will still show it on camera and clickbait his words, and then turn his words into something else, and then 2 weeks later, they'll get another animal and repeat the process again. The state of California is obviously too busy to ban people like these idiots from owning animals. Do they even license their animals? I don't know. They don't seem to have them long enough to actually license them or get microchips in them like the cat or the goats or the horse. They even tried to get a second horse once, and that kind of failed after 2 months. Because they thought having 2 horses on a property with 3 acres is perfect. No. Just no. You don't get 2 horses and expect them to live off of a less than 3 acres of a property when your whole house takes up a whole acre by itself. Then your whole pool and grotto and outdoor kitchen take up another whole acre. And then you have like a half of an acre for a barn, and then the other half of an acre of grass for your horses, in which case, no. Then you have chickens, and then you have goats, and then you have a bearded dragon, and then you have a cat that's like a hybrid designer breed, and then you have more chickens, and then you go back and forth on the chickens, you go back and forth on the goats, you go back and forth on the horse, you go back and forth on crating, kenneling, and loaning your dog to other people because you don't want to put in the effort to train a herding dog, like a border collie, to be more people compliant when you're not compliant enough to train an animal. Yes, I'm nearly 30 minutes into this. Damn. Well, I'm done. I'm done ranting, but that's a lot of ranting. I'm sure I'll do more about this family later on another day, probably when their next kid turns. When their oldest son turns 8, or, well, their youngest is already 5, their older one is 7. I don't know, come Christmas, they'll probably get another pet, and by Valentine's Day, that pet will be gone. Not dead, just given away because, well, We don't want to put in the effort. We don't want to do the chores. We don't want to clean up after it. We don't want to train the animal. We don't want to pay for vet bills. That's what they do. And that's not the way to own a pet. So, dear all people who want a pet, it's a commitment. For as long as its lifespan is expected, that pet is a commitment. I think these people have also done hamsters, gerbils, rats, mice. I'm surprised they haven't done a ferret, but they probably already have ferret on their list for Christmas. I wonder how many more pets they can get before their passive-aggressive boomer parents just tell them, stop. Stop getting pets you can't afford to take care of. You don't want to take care of. Their boomer parents will never say it to them. Missy's parents, Mimi and Papa, they will never say to Missy and Brian, stop getting pets. Stop giving us pets. Stop giving us the pets you don't want to take care of. Because they don't want to upset them. And they know that their Missy will just make clickbait about Mommy and Daddy, Mimi and Papa, grandparents don't want us to have pets. How do you talk to people like this? How do you be friends with people like this? How do you engage socially with people like this who just waste animals? And they clickbait every conversation they have with everyone. To the point where they don't have friends. They don't let their kids have friends. Their kids aren't going to have friends because no adult wants to be friends with these adults. And most adults probably don't want their kids around these adults because they're so goddamn self-centered. They're awful. Everything is about them. Let's make this homeschool video and call it a homeschool disaster when in reality you're not homeschooling at all. You're just doing a promotional video for Wheat Thins. Like, what the fuck is up with that? Okay. 31 minutes, 32 minutes. I'm done. I'll do another video later. That's it, folks. That's my rant. A series of rants. I'll post more later. Goodbye. Daily Bumps, Missy and Brian Lanning, you suck at parenting and you suck at pet owning. Stop owning pets. Amazingly, you've stopped at 2 kids. Why can't you stop at 2 dogs? No, you feel like you need every pet on the planet. Just stop. You're hurting yourselves and you're hurting your kids. One day your kids are going to say, why do you get so many pets but don't let us keep them? One day your kids are going to say that. And what are you going to do? You're going to make a clickbait video out of it. What's the point? No one is ever going to convince them that they need to stop having pets. And Governor Newsom could care less about all the family vloggers of California. He just cares about closing things. Banning people from doing things. I wish he'd ban people from recycling pet after pet every